The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
We're on the record in the cult mom conspiracy trial. I'm your host, Cody Thomas, and I'm going to walk you through the biggest takeaways from week 2 in Lori Daybell's trial, which is underway right now in Arizona. The so-called doomsday cult mom is already serving a life sentence in Idaho for the murder of her 2 youngest children, Vallow and Tylee Ryan, and conspiring to kill her 5th husband's first wife, Tammy Daybell. Now, she's facing another potential life sentence for the death of her 4th husband, Charles Vallow. Except this time, Lori is representing herself. We're going to break it down for you day by day, but first, here's Court TV's Julie Grant to get you caught up on the case.
Alex Cox was Lori Vallow's older brother, and he was living next door to Lori and her 2 children, Tylee Ryan and Vallow, when they were last seen in September of 2019. He followed her to Rexburg, Idaho, after he shot and killed her 4th husband, Charles Vallow, 2 months earlier on July 11th.
Your brother lives there with you?
No,
okay.
He had stayed with me last night because I was worried he was going to come over and cause trouble with me.
Okay.
And just wanted someone else there, like my brother there, because I trust my brother.
Police in Chandler, Arizona investigated Charles' death, but never charged Alex Cox because they considered it to be a self-defense case.
He came at me with the bat again after he'd already hit me in the head, so I shot him to stop him.
12 years before Alex Cox killed Charles Vallow, he served 3 months in a Texas jail for attacking Lori's 3rd husband, Joseph Ryan. He is Tylee's father, and the incident happened during a custody exchange. Alex Cox joked about it years later during a stand-up comedy routine.
You ever had something that you knew was the right thing to do, but it turns out that later on it was a felony?
During the fall of 2019, before family members realized Tylee and JJ were missing, police thought Alex Cox was responsible for 2 non-fatal shootings.
911, where's your emergency?
Someone just shot my window.
Okay, someone shot at your vehicle?
Yeah, and it hit my window, it shattered my driver's side window.
The first was on October 2nd, and the victim was Brandon Boudreaux. He is the estranged husband of Lori's niece, Melanie. He told police he didn't get a good look at the shooter, but he had a good idea of who it was.
He knew that Alex Cox was kind of the family hitman, and he just fairly quickly came to the conclusion that it was Alex Cox.
The second was a week later on October 9th, and the victim was Tammy Daybell, the wife of Lori Vallow's new boyfriend, Chad Daybell.
It was an indication that there may have been something else going on, that maybe this might have been a first attempt to get her out of the picture, and it just didn't work.
10 days later, Tammy Daybell died at her home. At the time, there was no evidence Alex Cox was involved, but he's since been named as a deceased co-conspirator in her death. And 2 months after Tammy's death, Alex Cox died at his home.
911, where is your emergency?
I have a older male here named Alex. He just passed out here on my bathroom.
Police say they found no evidence of foul play, and the medical examiner ruled Alex Cox died of natural causes. He was also named as a deceased co-conspirator in the deaths of Tylee Ryan and Vallow.
Day 5 was a critical day in court as jurors got a detailed look inside the final moments of Charles Vallow's life and what happened in the aftermath. A medical examiner walked them through the autopsy describing 2 gunshot wounds, one through the chest, another through the abdomen. Both were fatal, but not instantly, meaning Charles could have still moved, spoken, even reacted in the moments before his death. We also heard how Lori Vallow tried to claim a $1 million life insurance payout despite being removed from the policy months earlier. Her calm demeanor on the call to the insurance company raised eyebrows, and so did the fact that she never told Social Security she had gotten remarried to Chad Daybell, all while collecting $4,000 a month in survivor benefits. And finally, the detective who spoke with Lori after the shooting described her as, quote, unaffected, chatting casually in the car and at the station, showing no signs of distress. Let's take a look now at some of the biggest moments from day 5 in court.
The Court TV podcast will return.
I want to talk to you about July 13th of 2019. Did you perform an autopsy on a Leland Charles Anthony Vallow at about 8 in the morning?
I did.
In this case, what was the distance from Charles's head to the entrance wound that we saw in his chest?
I believe it was 18 and 3/4 inches.
Okay. And can you tell us, or do you recall what the distance was from Charles's head to this exit wound on his back?
I believe it was 20 inches.
So for lay people, it went through Charles's heart.
Yes.
Was that wound immediately fatal?
Not immediately, no.
Could Charles have lived for some period of time after this?
A short period of time, but yes.
When a person is shot in the heart such as this, could Charles have still spoken for that time period?
Yes.
Could he have moved after that bullet went through his heart?
He could have, yes.
So would it be possible for him to reach up and touch where he was shot with his left hand?
Yes.
Given the abrasions to Charles's knees, is it possible that he fell to his knees after he was shot?
It's possible, yes.
Would those abrasions on his knees be consistent with someone falling to their knees?
Yes.
What are survivor benefits?
Those are benefits paid to a recipient. For example, if someone were to die or pass, their children would be possibly entitled to benefits on their behalf after they were to pass.
In 2019, how much was Tylee Ryan receiving?
We have approximately $18.59 per month.
In the case of Tylee Ryan, was Lori Vallow the representative payee for Tylee Ryan?
She was.
How much money was Ms. Vallow set to receive as a result of the death of Charles Vallow?
It would be $19.51 per month.
Is that the same as what JJ was getting?
Yes, it'd be mirroring the same amount that JJ was receiving. Yes, correct.
So basically she's getting about $4,000 a month?
Approximately, yes.
How is that determined by the employee? Like if it's spousal benefit or if it's a mother and care benefit?
It'd be up to the applicant to apply for the benefits.
So if you applied for the spousal benefit and they gave you the mother and care benefit instead, how would you know the difference? You just know that that was the monthly amount you were getting?
You would receive a letter in the mail. You also would be at the appointment very clearly told what you're applying for. It should not be any confusion about what you're applying for at that appointment.
On July 15th of 2019, did Lori Ann Vallow call Banner Life Insurance to make a death claim? Yes.
May I have the name of the insured? L. Charles Vallow. And who am I speaking with? This is Lori Vallow. And your relationship to the insured?
He's my husband.
And what was the date of Mr. Vallow's passing?
July 11th.
And what was the cause of his passing?
Well, he was shot.
Okay.
So I don't know how I want to put that.
Okay. All right. And I hate to ask, but is it? Yeah, you can just say yes or no. Was it a homicide?
No, it was an accident.
An accident. Okay. Are you aware of who the primary beneficiary of the policy is?
It's me.
After Lori Vallow calls saying she's the primary beneficiary of that life insurance policy for her husband, Charles Vallow, did Banner Life Insurance actually determine that she was not the primary beneficiary? That's correct.
On day 6 of Lori Daybell's trial, the courtroom focused on timing, testimony, and a growing list of contradictions. The day began with Lori apologizing for mistakenly subpoenaing Charles Vallow's son and her son JJ's grandfather, calling it an oversight. But the real impact came when detectives returned to the stand. One officer described Lori's nonchalant demeanor after Charles Vallow's death as eerily calm, almost chatty, as if nothing had happened. Another officer walked the jury through surveillance footage and cell phone data that directly challenged Lori's version of events. According to GPS records, Lori was at Burger King and Walgreens around the same time she claimed she had fled the home in a panic. The detective told jurors it all pointed to one of two possibilities. Either the shooting happened much earlier than Lori claimed, or she wasn't there when it happened.
You were asked a lot about her demeanor that day, both when you first interacted with her, taking her over to the van, correct?
Correct.
Did Lori Vallow's behavior stand out to you?
It did.
Why?
So, based on what was going on, that we had a homicide, her husband had been shot and killed, her brother was the one who shot and killed her husband, it was inside her home, her children were at least partially present to this event. Her demeanor seemed odd given what was going on at the house that day.
Detective, when you were interviewing the defendant on July 11th, did the defendant tell you that she and Charles argued about the phone prior to Tylee ever becoming involved?
Correct.
Did she tell you that she had initially obtained Charles's phone, and when he asked for it back, she said no?
Correct.
Does she tell you that she then, in fact, confronts Charles about who he's texting?
Correct.
And she advised you that she still wouldn't give him back his phone, even though he demanded it then?
Correct.
So there were multiple occasions that she told you about prior to any bat or gun being involved that she could have just handed the phone back over.
That's correct.
And she did not.
That's correct.
Did you confirm that she had gone to Burger King before taking JJ to his school?
Yes.
When you are helping in this aspect of the case, were you aware at that time when the 911 call had been placed?
I was.
And when was that?
That was at 8:36 in the morning.
And were you aware when you went out to the Burger King of when the police had arrived at the scene?
Yes.
And was that within a few minutes around 8:41 or 8:42 a.m.?
Yes, that's about right. There's a little bit of a logistical difficulty in the question of how one could leave at 8:36 and then arrive back by 8:48, knowing the distances and knowing the city of Chandler like I do. So because of that, knowing that it was clearly the case that she was there at 8:48 because she was on officer's body-worn video, then I knew that there was some chance I would find that the video was in fact prior to the 911 call, because otherwise the distances and the travel didn't seem quite right.
Did you then ask to watch the surveillance video from that morning of July 11th?
I did.
As you were watching it, did you see a red SUV and a person that appeared to be Lori Vallow going through the drive-thru?
I did.
Do you recall about what time you saw that happen?
I want to say the timestamp on that is around 7:20 something.
Is it 7:54?
That is probably correct, yes.
So ultimately, what you determined was that the timeline of Lori Vallow leaving when the 911 call was and returning back was not accurate.
Yes, as I understood, based on, again, the multiple different ways now that we're able to corroborate location not only of devices that are relevant, because we knew at this point that she had Charles's phone, we knew numbers for her phones, we have video of her at various places, and so again, I could see only two possible interpretations. Either the shooting happened much earlier than we were told, or the device and the person bearing it, which I understand to be Miss Vallow, left well before the shooting occurred. I don't see a third option.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
We're nearing the end of testimony in Lori Daybell's conspiracy trial, and today jurors heard from the lead detective who put it all together. Detective Nathan Duncan walked the jury through the crime scene, the position of Charles Vallow's body, the blood evidence, and the bullet hole in the floor that he says proves Charles was lying down when he was shot the second time, shot again. But what stood out even more was the digital trail. Duncan revealed a disturbing timeline. Duncan said Charles's phone left the house 47 minutes before the 911 call, and the person holding it, Lori Vallow. He also revealed texts from 2 days before the shooting between Lori and her brother Alex, which referenced justified killing, and texts between Lori and Chad Daybell discussing life insurance details just weeks after Charles was killed. After hours on the stand, the prosecution rested.
When you were cleaning up the blood, did you notice anything on the floor that stood out to you where he had been located?
Yes, I did.
What did you notice?
When cleaning up the blood, I immediately noticed a defect in the floor consistent with a bullet strike that would have been close to or right on this area where the exit wound would have been on Charles' left shoulder.
So when you see this now, did you feel that was consistent with the bullet striking the floor underneath Charles and him being on the floor when he was shot?
100%.
Was the first time that you kind of became aware of this account when you saw that Charles had saved an email and then began texting Lori Vallow about it?
Yes.
Did you find evidence that Charles Vallow, after discovering this email, contacted Chad Daybell?
Yes.
Based upon your review of the case and the dates on here, did Charles Vallow begin confronting Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell about the affair less than 2 weeks before he was killed?
He did.
If we have heard testimony from Dr. Baumgartner that Charles Vallow, when he was shot in the heart, would have taken up to a couple minutes to die after he was shot in the heart, and Lori Vallow has told Detective Enclan that she left right after Charles was shot, would that mean that Charles Vallow just lay dead on the floor for 45 minutes before Alex Cox called 911 at best?
Yes.
So at 8:06, Alex Cox calls Lori a second time, and Charles Vallow has now been laying on the floor for at least 17 minutes.
Correct.
Understanding that the 911 call isn't made till 8:36, Alex Cox waits another 30 minutes before he calls 911?
Yes.
Did Lori Vallow ever call 911?
No.
Neither of her calls, neither of her phones?
No.
Not on Charles's phone?
No.
Going back to the Lolly Time iCloud account, was that account created on July 1st of 2019?
It was.
Was that created after Charles Vallow contacted Lori and Chad Daybell and Tammy Daybell about the affair?
It was.
On July 28th of 2019, Lori Vallow is sending photographs of the life insurance policy, original and the change, to Chad Daybell.
Yes.
On July 9th at 9:50 p.m., does Lori Vallow send her brother Alex Cox a message, getting sleepy, so I'm going to need you to stay close to me the next couple days. Mel too. She can't go to Utah. They are planking some kind of intervention, but want Mel out of the way, so I'm left alone. I need to come get the stuff at your house tomorrow and store it or secure it. Lots to do. Thank you for standing by me. It's all coming to a head this week. I will be like Nephi, I am told, and so will you. So 4 months after Charles Vallow is shot and killed inside of the defendant's home, she has remarried to the man, Chad Daybell.
Yes.
With Without a jury, week 2 wrapped up with a shocking announcement from Lori Daybell. She told the judge she planned to rest too, but asked to wait until next week to tell the jury. Lori will have an opportunity to tell her side of the story during closing arguments, but a jury cannot consider it as evidence. So the questions remain. Will Lori formally rest without putting on any evidence, or will she change her mind and testify? We'll find out together next week when week 3 kicks off in the Cult Mom conspiracy trial. Until then, I'm Cody Thomas, and as always, thanks for listening. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll see you next time we go back on the record.
This podcast is a production of Court TV. Go to CourtTV.com for more content, trials on demand, and to find out how to watch Court TV in your area.